Hello and welcome to another episode of LB Presents Unite on Purpose. And this is day 3. And the Unite on Purpose interviews are all about how do we bring people together that are purpose-driven to create a movement towards global unity. What if we could shift education, health, manufacturing, retail to be able to make an impact in the world? And so we decided to create a campaign that was all around Unite on Purpose, because it's our belief that everybody should be seen and heard, no matter where you live or the demographic that you live in. What if we could build a brand new earth that creates a new face for the modern world? And so today I've been interviewing different people every day, and I have Michael Wilson from Prosper, and he's a very dear friend of mine, and I've invited him to come onto this webinar today to be interviewed on his purpose and what it means for him to be on purpose. So thank you for joining me today, Michael.
Thank you, I think, Lindsay.
And is it sunny in the Isle of Man, Isle of Wight?
Isle of Man.
Isle of Man?
No, but it's not raining. So that's quite good.
Oh, that's okay. So Michael has the big pleasure of living in the Isle of Man. And I met Michael through my business partner, Paul Sweeney. And I have to say, we had a gorgeous conversation one evening. He was out on his beautiful deck with the gorgeous view, and I was in my house in Barnes, and we absolutely hit it off. And one of the things that we connected on was our entrepreneurial background, how we both got brought up. And one of the things I hugely admired about Michael was how he's been building businesses, driving businesses, not only the business that he's got now, but he has a number of different businesses around him. And he's all about how do you build communities to connect together. So Michael, can I ask you to tell us a bit of your background and also tell us what is Prosper, what's the business, and who are you? Where did you come from?
Oh, very quick version. I've done businesses around technology in the IT sector in the 90s and early 2000s, built up a company and sold that. Then I moved to a fantastic place, the Isle of Man, set up a business in financial services and around employment, sold that, retired for a few years, and then I've been doing a lot of stuff in property in London, and a lot of the contacts and stuff I built up over the years were always phoning me up for who do I know for this, who can I recommend for that, can you help do this? And I was missing opportunities and not maximizing what was there. So I needed to create or decided to create a community platform that turned into a business club, which became Prosper, to connect all the people that I've done business with over the years. And these relationships go back 10, 15 years. So that started off being Prosper, and we needed a USP for Prosper. And what we created there was a loyalty program. And I didn't like loyalty programs in general. You were carrying around meaningless pieces of plastic that didn't do things, points expired, etc. So we created our own loyalty program that I would use myself.
And so in that period of time, I'm going to touch on the first thing that you talked about was the business club. And I'd like to tell people that, first off, you have about 1,200 businesses in that business club, and you have over 200,000 people in your media business also. So it's quite a considerable amount of people that you've got sat around you that are all just your friends. How did you come about to getting so many people joining a business club? And actually the businesses that I've met in that business club are really decent sized businesses with, decent businesses that they're creating.
So we've kind of done it a bit the old fashioned way, through reputation, word of mouth, introducers, etc. So as I said, when I first started this off, I had a core of, probably 40 businesses that I was dealing with on a regular basis. So they became the first people, and then they become advocates for you. You then deal with accountants, you deal with introducers, and then you build your network up that way, the old-fashioned way, through contacts, previous relationships. We built up our own sales team around the UK, so we've got 6 people geographically split around the UK, and we've done things the old-fashioned way, and we've built that up to say about 1,200 businesses. We deal with them and they pay us a monthly subscription. We don't tie them into a 12-month contract or any 3 or 5 year contracts like other organisations will do. They deal with us because they want to on a month-by-month basis, and we speak directly to the owners and managers of these businesses.
Okay, so Michael, you met me and you met my business partner, Darren Sherlaw, and we sat with you one day and the pandemic hit, and we said to you, Michael, you're not going to go out and sell anymore. You're going to use those people that are around you, and we're going to start switching your business over to be more purpose-driven. And they're going to go out and actually have conversations with the clients and so forth, and they're going to stop selling. And actually, in fairness to you, Michael, you sat down and actually agreed with what we chatted about, because I know that you're pretty purpose-driven yourself. And you then had to relay that back to all your sales team and your business. Could you give me a conversation about how that went and what that looked like, transitioning the business over?
So the one at the early stage of the pandemic?
Yeah. And the early stages of of the very, very early stages.
So if I just take a little step back, if you don't mind.
Yeah, that'd be good. You start wherever you want. Yeah,
a couple of things that I needed to fix, and some of them are a bit personal. Last year I did 126 flights. So I had a carbon footprint that was a little bit large, and was getting a bit weary. And there's only so many people that you can meet. And also, we, as a business, we'd slightly lost our way in creating the community aspect of Prosper. So that, hence the reason why we were speaking with Darren and yourself, Lindsay, and Paul in the first place. And then as the pandemic hit, the first thing that I did was I said to all of our people, stop selling. Yeah, pretty much at the same time you guys were telling us, saying that as well, but I'd actually already done it. And it was a case to stop selling and just go and speak to the clients. Don't sell them anything, speak to them, engage with them. And after a couple of days, they were all sales guys were on the phone to me saying, people are putting their subscriptions on hold, they're spending less with us, they're cancelling orders. And I said, no, it's all right, carry on, keep speaking to them. And they thought I'd lost the plot completely. And yes, business did take a big downturn, like everybody's business did in the early days of the pandemic. Then what happened is the UK, the various governments brought in the government support that they did for businesses. And then things changed fairly quickly from there, that because we'd already been engaging with them and speaking with them and empathizing with them, then they started the conversations up very quickly.
And then what happened? So you did that and they started having conversations, and then you decided to launch a webinar that when I first spoke to you about this, you actually said to me, do you know, Lindsay, I've been trying to get a webinar off the ground for
3.5 years.
4 years? 3.5 years.
3.5 years, I have written on a whiteboard a list of all the webinars that I wanted to do, and we've never got it done. As I said, we'd lost our focus and direction, and that's why we're working with you guys. You've given us that kind of structure around that, and it's been very easy for us because, and I think you've not had many battles with us to get us to go. You're
very open-minded, very entrepreneurial spirit.
It's what we wanted to do anyway.
It was. And so it's interesting. The reason why I'm talking about this is there are many traditional businesses that are out there that would have been in a space that you were in. And, you said it yourself, you built your business up. It was the traditional way. You had the sales teams out there. You were doing it through relationships and so forth. And when a pandemic hit, a lot of these businesses went into severe crisis because they were offline. They didn't have any way of accessing their client base anymore. And a lot of people were still selling, were trying to sell, and obviously not able to do that anymore. We had a business that dropped from 23 million to 0 overnight that was in our network. And this was quite a common story that was happening. And what I wanted to discuss with you and why position that was because what you did was you actually went on the front foot and you spoke to the teams and said, okay, stop selling, which is not normal for a traditional business to do. And then what you did was you engaged your client base to be able to run a webinar with you. And so I wondered if you could talk me through the process of then starting to run this webinar that you basically wanted to do for about 3.5 years. And then all of a sudden the pandemic hits and we launched the webinar. How did that feel for you, Michael, as a person getting on and doing the webinar? And then as for Gerald just doing that also.
So personally, getting on cameras and out to the public and doing webinars has been a very challenging personal experience because I'm naturally shy on these things. But in fact, not even that many hours ago, Lindsay was asking me, you haven't even got a photo on your LinkedIn page.
We're going to discuss that later, Michael. That's going offline with a glass of wine.
Yeah, I thought we might do that. So at the start of this, it was about positivity, really. If our sales team had been just trying to sell, they'd have just been hitting a whole bank of negativity and generating negativity. And by what you guys did with pivoting your business and going out and advising and helping and supporting people, it meant that we could all do that together. So what you guys were talking about was about positivity, about guiding people, because when people don't know what was going on, and what to expect in the future, that's kind of quite a scary thing and a very
scary.
Yeah, but if you're waking up in the morning and actually dealing with positivity, then it empowers you to be able to do an awful lot more. So we got a lot of benefit out of that personally, and then what we really wanted to do was pick that up and take that out to our client base. Hence, that's why when we then started to create the webinar series to take the message that we had between us, which was as we've said many times, very culturally aligned, out to the wider world.
And we were able to join with you in that. I remember, and this is what I discussed yesterday on our call. The reason for us coming out for our webinar series was because we'd had about 3,500 businesses come through our business schools since 2016. And we felt a huge responsibility actually for the business community, because we knew the pain that we were going to go through to pivot our business to move online and be able to actually activate the schools. And we knew that we had to support the business community. And so we launched our webinar series, and we were able to then come around you with your webinar series because you were also sat in a place with 1,200 businesses around you. And you recognized as well the pain that everybody was going through. And what if you could provide something for the business community of your own? And so
a lot of the people that we do business with, we have quite a close relationship. We treat them as our friends. Your friends, if anybody's friends, if they're going through a tough time, you want to help them.
Yeah. And I remember you very kindly brought my business partner, Darren Sherlaw, onto your webinar, and he did his economic update. And then you brought myself on, and we worked together, and we did the whole community side, and then we did innovation. And I remember the reaction to your network and the community. Would you like to talk about that? What happened with your community after they'd been on the different webinars?
We learned, I think, throughout this whole period of the last sort of, since March, we've all learned a lot about ourselves and the relationships that we've got around us. And it's been really, really fascinating to watch all the different interactions and how people come together and engage with people in different ways. That's just been brilliant, really. It just drives you on.
And on this call, and you know me very well, Michael, I have been asking my key question to each person that comes on the call. So I'm going to ask you the same question. Michael, what is it that you're known for?
So we hope to be known for enabling.
You are known for.
So we're designed to enable people to prosper together.
So if we talked about that, which is your purpose, to enable people to prosper together, could you talk to me about what that means to you? Because I sat on a webinar with you, with the community webinar that we did, and we discussed about it. And you spoke a lot, very passionately, about what community meant for you, actually. And so I'd love to hear it from you. What does it mean to enable people to prosper together?
It's just, I don't know, it's just what we do, really. It's, we bring different people together, we introduce things, we stimulate conversation, and we make things happen, really. And we don't always, we're certainly not led by, how much money you can make out of something. I have this idea that you put good people together, or put disruptive, innovative products in front of people, good things come of that, and then money follows as a consequence, rather than it being the driver. And that's just like how we like to be as a group of people. And we are a group of people first, and the business then sits over the top of that. And that's just how we are. It's how I live my life.
And for the that's beautiful, thank you. And for the community around you, what does it mean for them to prosper together as a community? That all the business people that are in your network, what does it mean for them to prosper together? And you provide that space for it.
Well, it's an easier way of doing business, and it's, the people buy from people, things are trotted out, but people do. And if you're getting over all those things about trust and credibility and things very, very quickly, because you've come together in a community space, then things happen easier, they happen quickly, they happen more efficiently, then therefore they're cheaper, etc. It's just a more pleasant way to be.
Something that we find from our Bob community is that we discuss it quite often. There's a new trading economy that takes place. We find that people tend to trade other things rather than just commodities. They're sharing knowledge, they're sharing ideas, they're sharing contacts. People open up networks to you that rarely happen when you're in a sales conversation in that way. And people champion each other in a different way in the community than they do when you're just in a sales conversation. What do you find?
Yeah, it's the modern, it's the more modern equivalent of really how we started the business in the first place. I went to the first 30 or 40 people that I did business with, and then they became advocates of your business and recommended you. And it's that in a more modern, controllable, scalable way, because the way our business was is that we were not able to scale it and grow it to where we wanted it to be by being hamstrung with the old way of being. And that's why it's a very tough time that we're living in and going to live in for another X period of time. But I think it'll be the most rewarding, fulfilling time. You look back in 5 years' time.
And I'm going to now look at the lens through not only through the business community of prospering together, but actually through the internal team of your own business. Because you did something very pioneering, Michael, 12 weeks ago. You decided to put all of your team, and that's not just the senior management team, you put every single person inside your organization on a program around personal brand, turning their brand into an asset. And actually, it wasn't about them knowing your brand, Prosper, or that you stand for, enabling people to prosper together and so forth. Actually, what you did was you asked them, and we asked them over a 12-year period, what was it that they stood for? What did they want to be known for? And so could you talk to me about that? Because that really brings your brand, your personal positioning, that prosper together internally into your business very clearly for me.
Well, if we wanted to, major and go back to the core roots of where Prosper should have been, which was in around community and building that. The first thing we had to do was look internally, but because we've got kind of quite busy over the last couple of years, I'm the first to admit our internal communications had got fairly poor. Team, we've got some fabulous people, but the teamwork, from the management down, wasn't as good as it could have been. So when we started then to look at how we're going to go and create and improve on the community aspects of our business, we needed to look at our people first, and that's where we started talking about personal brand, business brand. And the easy one to do would have been to rebrand the business first and get the people to follow.
It would.
But I really wasn't quite into that idea, because it was very difficult to do that at the start of the pandemic. But the people needed looking after him as well. So what we decided to do between us was to embark on this personal brand exercise, which is just the first stage of what we're doing now. And there would have been no point in having half the business doing it, because they were the external face of the business, and then the internal team of the support functions of the business not knowing what the other side of the business was talking about. And also, there's a journey there to learn about your people. And we have an awful lot, we have some fantastic people in our business. I've got people in our business that I've worked with for 10, 15 years, known for a long time through other businesses that have then come to us. And sometimes you don't know everything about what makes people tick. And we've got a lot of really caring people who themselves last all the time. It doesn't matter whether it's in the business, their family, their personal lives, whatever. It's all about other people and not about themselves. So we saw it between us as a great opportunity for people to look at themselves first, about who they were, what they wanted to be. And it's been quite tough for a lot of people. There's been some tears, there's been some soul searching, but there's been some fantastic moments, and they will only continue, because this is just the start of a journey.
And I had the pleasure, I have to say, it's one of the most liberating things that I do as part of my own career, as I go and build businesses. But when you get to work with a team of people, and all of your team were on the call, and there was quite a few of them, and I got to spend 10, 11, 12 weeks with them, the breakthroughs that I have seen, and actually the team dynamic that I've seen from you being able to connect with those people, and them to connect with each other, was incredible. And could you talk me through that? Because I remember Rebecca saying on the call, I've made some really good friends over the last 10 weeks, and she's worked at the business for 14 years.
No, she hasn't. She's only actually worked with the business for about a year, but she's known me for 19 years.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's worked with you for 19 years, but not in the business. Okay.
No, she's known me as a friend for 19 years and is mad enough to be my assistant about a year ago.
Right. But she sat on the program, and she actually said how amazing it's been, because she's connected so deeply with people around the table. And it was really refreshing to hear how many people had connected together, never mind connecting with themselves and their purpose and what they wanted to do. But this connectivity that's taken place throughout the business has been wonderful to watch. And what's it been like internally for you going through it?
The internal communications between people and how they've connected together has been remarkable, because this all happened when people were sat in their homes and they weren't able to physically see each other. We're in a very, very fortunate position here in the Isle of Man at the moment that we've not had any COVID cases for 62 days. And we have been back in the office for about a month. But we've got people now that, our finance director, who that started a week into lockdown. Yeah,
right.
Nobody in our business, apart from me, has actually met her. Yeah,
I didn't realise you've not actually met her, or they've not met her.
No, but none of the rest of the team have met. I've met her, Keely, and
it was incredible today, by the way.
Yes, I believe so. And she has never felt more involved in any business that she's been in, than she does right now. And that's one of her friends who I know telling me externally. That's not just her telling me what I want to hear. And that's somebody that's not physically met people, and that's mad.
Wow. So what's your takeaway from doing this and running this through all of your team first? What's your takeaway? What's your big aha moment or your key learning that you've got from doing this for the people inside the organization and for you as a business owner?
I think as a business owner, I get the satisfaction to know that we are working with our people and helping and supporting each other as a team. The fact that I own the business is almost irrelevant. We're all part of a team.
Cool.
But there's so many different things. This is a start of a journey for us. And, at the start of it, people said, well, when it comes to brand and who they are as a person, they just basically said, tell us what you want us to be.
They did.
What the business is going to be, what the business strategy is, and we will go and deliver that. And we said to them, no, that's not what this is about. And that took quite a few weeks to get over to people.
It did.
This is about you and what you want to be. And then what we'll do is we'll listen to all of that. And then the next stage of the business is to then align the business behind the people. And then when you go out and talk, you talk with a lot more feeling and a lot more passion. And as you can sort of tell from me talking here today, I'm really into this business. Yeah. And so it's very easy for me to talk about it. And if any of the people are into what they're doing, then they get out of bed in the morning and they're happy and glad to go to work. And you talk more passionately about things, that becomes infectious, and then things lead from there.
So, Michael, before you leave, I'm going to give you this bag. Unite on Purpose. Can you see that?
Yeah, because I haven't got one of them.
You haven't got one in your office, but you do have one. Right, I'm passing it to you, Michael. Have you got it?
Thank you.
Good, right. You've now got the bag. And for the day today, you can get everybody to prosper together and unite on purpose. And you've got the keys from Boris to the UK. What are you going to do? What's the one thing that you would do on your day with the keys to get everybody to prosper together and unite on purpose?
Well, the thing is, I'm in a very fortunate position that we can actually make these things happen now. Through what we're doing, the number of business opportunities that come across my desk that have purpose and have amazing purpose is just crazy. And that's the exciting bit going forward.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael, for coming on today and allowing me to interview you. I know that as part of your personal brand, it's a step-by-step process to get you to come on here. And I do have to say, I hugely acknowledge you for running those webinars. They are starting up again. When are they starting up?
Next week, next Thursday.
Oh, they're starting up next Thursday. I would like to recommend that anybody that is in business that is looking to prosper together and enable that to happen, Michael has an absolutely wonderful business community and business network that is thriving and prospering. And I've had the very fortunate position of meeting some of these businesses, and they are incredible. A lot of them are incredible leaders in their own industry. So if you would like to be part of that and join the webinar, I believe it's open for them to join, isn't it, Michael?
Yeah.
Then the community can join the webinar. We will give the link at the end of this webinar to the Prosper Together webinar series, and it's starting next Thursday. And Michael, after this, we are having a word about that photo. So join me in the green room, please.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And so